Hey, good Sunday morning, May 5th. We got a coffee here. Thought we'd talk a little bit about sometimes where it's one of those days where you probably should have just stayed in bed. So let's talk about that and see where it goes. So stay with us. Alright, so welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know it. This is the weekend, Sunday. We do a Monday through Friday, the weekday, and that's more kind of like business and repairs for farm, small engine. And then on the weekends, I kind of do ad lib whatever I see that's going on that might benefit you or entertain you. So yesterday was one of those days, that I went down to the shop, got shipping done for the venues. Everything was going good. And I said, well, because Claude and I decided we go to the auction yesterday. It's in our local township, probably 14 miles away. And it's kind of like a spring consignment. They have everything from small engine to agricultural. And they get two auctioneers going because it's that big. They start at 10 in the morning. And a lot of times it's 6, 7 o'clock at night before they get finished up. And they have what they call smalls. And smalls, they have on the flat rack tables or this or that. And for me, it's kind of like one of those deals of it's either A, one is there for a reason, it's pretty much junk, or B, they're having an appraisal done on it. And that's why I don't have a tendency to stay long at these, because the owners bid back in because they don't feel like they're getting a fair price. And fair price to me is fair market value. Whatever the market dictates is what it's going to go for. And yesterday you couldn't give a trimmer away. I think they were selling like 3 or 4 at a pop for $5. And that's more than I'd have given. No, I didn't buy them. And they had a lot of chainsaws, but they only had one that they had running. The rest of them were they're good, just need a spark plug or, bullcrap. And then they get to the bigger stuff, the farm machinery, and that's when you get to the appraisal. Is most of the people that bring their crap in have got a minimum reserve bid on it. And when you go to a conventional auction, like we do when it's an individual selling out, there is no reserves. It is what it is. And people are willing to bid because they know that whoever is the highest bidder at the end is going to own it. It's not going to be one of those things, sorry folks, can't sell it. So we were there for probably an hour, and there wasn't really anything there that I could live without. So I'll come back. And I had started fixing fence because the cows, my juvenile delinquents, were starting to get out. And when we were at the auction last week, I got a call from my neighbor saying, are your cows out? I said, I don't know, not that I know of. Why? He said, well, there's a bunch of them here eating my wife's flowers in her flower bed. That's not good. So I got off the phone with him, looked at Claude. Claude said, but if there's something here you're interested in, you might better stay. You're here. I said, I know, but I need to go home. We got to get cows back in. It's the best thing I can do for a neighbor. So I'm working on the fence, and I'm going back to the old basics. I had a 4-strand electric, and I have a neighbor. He's got 300 mama cows of Angus, and he only runs 1 strand. And he was telling me, he said that if you run 1 or 2 strand, you're going to have more juice because it's traveling through less lines. And the lower your electric fence line is, the more apt it can get into grass and get grounded out with brush, or kind of take it down, minimize the potency that it should be. So I've decided to go with all 2 strand instead of 4 strand, and I'm coiling up the extra 2 strands and making sure that the good 2 strands are hung at the right height to keep them in. So I worked on that yesterday before I went to the auction. We left the auction because there wasn't anything there worth staying for. Got back, kept working on fence, and I don't know, probably right around noonish, 1 o'clock, and I went to start my 4-wheeler, and all it would do is click. And I'm thinking, freaking solenoid, you know. But I don't have any tools with me to do that kind of stuff. So I give Claude a call, and I said, can you give me a hand? He said, what's the matter? And I said, well, the Honda Foreman, I can't get it to start. It's just clicking. It's either got a solenoid issue or the starter is locked in. Something's not right. So he said, give me a minute. I'll come over. I got to get my farm boots on. So he come over with his side-by-side. And I motioned to him to stop. Because there's a marsh between me and him. And I come across the low end where it's a little drier. Well, he decided to go right straight across to me. When he did, he got out there about 4 or 5 foot, and there he dropped. And when I say drop, that thing dropped just like a bullet. I mean, it, and there she sat. So it's like, Jesus, I'm telling you. So he came up with the idea of taking his winch, going underneath his machine, going backwards to a tree, in order to pull himself backwards with the winch to get himself out. Because the winch is mounted in the front. It's a solid winch. So we get that all hooked up. He starts pulling on the winch, and his winch cable breaks. So we end up we had strapping, we had chain, girls, and I pulled out 40-some feet off my winch on my 4-wheeler to hook to it to see if I could pull him frontwards to get him up where his front tires would be on high ground. So I started winching him, and he was like stuck, you know, it's like a suction thing. And it was pulling my 4-wheeler sideways. And finally my winch cable snapped. I'm like, crap. By then I'm mud to head to toe. So one of us has got to walk back to the house, which, like I was saying, you know, I own just under 500 acres of ground. So at the point where I was, it was probably 3/4 of a mile as a crow flies. The problem is, Claude twisted his knee coming off his porch last week, so he's having problems. He's hobbling. And ever since I had Lyme disease years ago, the distance I can walk has been greatly reduced, where I start getting leg cramps and everything else. But I told myself, look, just stay here, relax. It's going to take me some time because I'm going to have to walk so far, stop, walk so far and stop. And it took me half an hour to cover that distance to get the big Deutz out, the 4-wheel drive. So I get there and I take the Deutz tractor, go all the way up to where he is, and I hook onto his side-by-side, and I pull him right out. The Deutz didn't even know it was there. So I told him, I said, why don't we just quit here for the day? And it's not like we're going to fix the four-wheeler tomorrow. It's Sunday. Let's just leave it and we'll get it tomorrow or Monday. He said, no, I think we can get it. Can you get your tractor up to there? I said, yeah, I should be able to, I hope. So I drove the Deutz. The Deutz is 140 horse with a cab and a loader. So she was spinning pretty good in four-wheel drive up to, and then I got turned around on high ground. And I made the mistake of trying to go lower versus going higher. And I ended up burying the Deutz. It's moving still, but it's almost to its belly. So we stopped there yesterday. And what I'm going to do is this morning I'm going to go up there with a mini excavator, and I'm going to take where the front tires are. I'm just going to trough that so it's smoother, because right now it's hitting dry ground. But now the tires are trying to climb up instead of just gradually come out. But it's going to take me, I got the Mini here across from the house. It'll take me an hour to drive that thing up to where the tractor is. I mean, you want to talk about a slow machine. It's a slow machine, you know. You're not getting any place in a hurry. I can outwalk that thing. But that's what I'm saying is sometimes, you know, it's better to stay in bed. Had we stayed at the auction, we wouldn't have had any problem with the Honda, right? And had we just left the Honda there and had Claude pick me up, get on the other side of the west spot, and leave it, it would have turned out better. But everything we did ended up backfiring on us. And the last was, I'm mud head to toe. My Deutz tractor is stuck. My four-wheeler almost tipped over in the Deutz ruts that Claude was riding behind me. And he's hollering, whoa, 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 you're going to flip me. So I stopped. And that's where I lost momentum, was once I stopped. So finally Claude says, let's just leave this till tomorrow. So that's what I wanted to do before. So we hop in his four-wheeler and we head out. I shut the main gate. We get up on the road and something feels odd. And Claude says, is that front tire on your side soft? So I looked out and I said, yeah, it's pretty soft. And he said, well, shoot. I said, is that the one you keep pumping up? He said, no, it's the other side. This side's never gone down. So we're sitting on the side of the road, and he's got one of those emergency air pumps that you plug into a cigarette lighter, and you pump your tire up. So 10 minutes later, we had the tire with enough air in it to get us the rest of the way. Today's a new day, and we're trying to figure out what's the best plan of attack, right? And sometimes the best plan of attack is doing nothing versus doing something. But what I'm going to do today, I'm going to take the Mini up there. I'm going to dig a set of tracks for the tractor to come out on. Oh, and I forgot, the 2640. He went up to get the 2640, which is another good sized tractor, to pull the Deutz out. And he got up here and somebody left the key switch on, so the battery's dead. And it sits across the road. So you have to run an extension cord across the road just to charge that battery. So that's the other thing I gotta get done today. I'm just gonna pull start it to get it over on this side of the road, and then I'll shut it off next to the building, just give it a low, steady charge and charge those batteries back up on that. Because I'm still probably going to need that to help the Deutz come out, because it's in there pretty good. But we all have those days, right? And you can either get pissed, bitch and complain, cop an attitude, or you can just say, you know what? It is what it is. And I'll deal with it. Worst case scenario, because my big excavator is down because I need a final drive for that. And that's $4,500 plus the core. And we're trying to get the core off right now so that we can get that to Syracuse to pick up the new final drive to put on that so we can get it back into use. If I had that, I would have walked that right over there and it would have yanked that Deutsch out of there like nothing. So a lot of it is your attitude. You know, you can kind of ruin the rest of your day, or you can just go find someplace and, you know, where you're not touching anything. Just so that nothing would break, So I guess what I'm getting at is we all have those days. And we have to understand that it's just that day, right? That today is a new day. And we got refreshed, got a good night's sleep, and a different plan of attack, and slow, and don't get into a rush. That today's a new day, so I've got different plans of attack I can do. And in the end, everything will be out. And the four-wheeler, I'll get down to the shop so we can find out if we need a starter for it or what have you. So on that note, you guys have a great day, a great Sunday. And we'll see you here bright and early tomorrow morning for the weekday show. Again, if you're having a bad day, just understand it's a bad day and get a good night's sleep. No matter what's on your plate today, things will change if you can get a good night's sleep and then attack it tomorrow from a different angle than the angle that you're... Because what I find is if you try attacking things and try to get things done in a hurry, you're going to make mistakes. And we made plenty of them yesterday. You know, it just was one of those days. All right, guys.